The internet, y'all got us all the way up. We met that dude, DukeTheJeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to kill him.
He's the one that's tied to the dude that makes the loaded dice. Right? Check the play out. All entertainers, when you go to Houston, stay away from JPrinceJr. The whole play going on. Here go the play right here. The play is a loaded dice.
Is that a jeweler named Duke recently got killed, and the story's really messed up. So I want you to talk about what happened.
Ice covered in blood rolled on the velvet table. Only one man would survive, but everyone smiled. The jeweler Duke didn't die penniless. Wolves surrounded him as he passed away. Mobtai's hands are now covered in blood. The feds are aware of it too, okay? No one robbed Duke. He was put to death and not in an alley by some strangers wearing masks. Surrounded by people who might have been sending signals one moment and dapping him up the next, he died after leaving. Boosie's dice game. Federal heat is now being applied to the same individuals. 50 Cent is now revealing the rumors, uploading the receipts, and making references to a larger-than-expected setup. Here's what makes this mess so incredibly dramatic. 2 weeks before Takeoff's murder, Duke shut down the table at a Prince Jr. dice game under circumstances that were strikingly similar. And everything starts to go south when the wrong man starts to win. They're seeing the whole mob bind circle now. Boosie, Little Cam, and JPrinceJr. additionally. What began as rumors is evolving into warrants. However, how did we get here at all? Since it might have been a loaded execution from the beginning, let's zoom out of what appeared to be a friendly dice game. DukeTheJeweler was living the dream from the outside looking in. A self-made Chicago native who started his brand from nothing. He wasn't merely giving SoundCloud rappers iced-out chains. This individual was creating pieces for well-known people and actual customers and establishing a solid reputation in the field. He didn't arrive at Houston for pleasure. He arrived with a bag. According to reports, Boosie personally invited him to discuss a unique piece. Duke then placed his finest ideas inside the $1 million Louis duffel bag and arrived. He was unaware that the meeting would also serve as his last farewell. Let's focus on that dice game now. Yes, the audio that was leaked at WAC 100 indicates that this comes straight from a street-connected source. It's not simply a friendly game of chance either. This whole thing was an operation. JPR Jr. allegedly operates what is now referred to as a loaded dice ring. And here's the thing, the three men at the table are always the same. Wolf, Big Capri, and Little Cam. The three who turn the dice as if it were a ceremonial rite. Unless someone messes up the rotation, the house always wins. Well, someone made a mistake that evening. Watt claims that they were loaded when Duke managed to get past the dice that weren't intended for him. He began to strike consecutively, fast on from hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands. And what occurs if a rigged system is broken? Its perpetrators are terrified. Let's discuss math. Insiders claim that JPrinceJr. receives 30% of each dice nightethal. It wasn't pure luck then, when Duke began draining stacks. That posed a risk to finances. In addition, Duke exuded confidence, loudness, and a lot of flex that evening. He was throwing stacks like confetti, shooting it all for Instagram, and dripping in diamonds. This is where everything starts to go haywire. If you take a moment to end the video from that dice game, you can see Boosie whistling softly. His nephew instantly turns and looks directly at Duke, but there is nothing hostile about it. The nephew receives a signal touch on the arm from another man wearing a red sweatshirt. The atmosphere in the room abruptly changes. Duke was joking and throwing dice at one point. After a few minutes later, you can't fake this level of stress. It's body language, not paranoia. Because you can sense it when you come into a room full of individuals who have already determined how the night will finish. And consider this. If you want further evidence that this was no typical game, why would Boosie, a millionaire, invite someone who has more than $1 million worth of jewels to a dice game with someone he doesn't completely trust without providing security? How come JPrinceJr. didn't? Do you have safeguards in place for a known out-of-towner who is carrying that much heat? Let's go back to the precise moment Duke walked away from the dice game. After spending the entire night surrounded by millions of dollars in cash and ice, he was wandering alone through a dark Houston lot without a driver, a crew, or security. If you think that sounds strange, you're right. This is when it turns from suspicious to evil, though. Shots ring out within minutes. Duke is shot dead during an ambush. Jewelry and money are typically taken first in a heist or setup gone awry. However, Duke was discovered still wearing everything. What sort of robbery, then, leaves seven-figure valuables behind? He wore the same $1 million necklace, too, Boosie's show just before he passed away. The Louis Vuitton bag Duke was carrying was the true mic drop moment. The person with his most valuable unpublished jewelry creations didn't simply disappear. It appeared in Boosie's home. Give it time to marinate. This was confirmed by Houston police. We don't know if Boosie snatched the bag after the fact or if Duke gave it to him for protection during the dice game. However, it is evident that the luggage returned to Boosie. Duke didn't. In response, Boo posted a shaky Instagram live from an airplane, stating that Duke simply walked off and that he hardly knew him.
Tried to rob him. Some dudes tried to rob him. See some dudes that tried to rob me and walked off by himself. I had just met dude yesterday. Try to rob dude must ain't get up.
And Duke's Louis Vuitton bag was the actual microphone drop moment. He didn't simply disappear with his most valuable unpublished jewelry designs. Inside Boosie's home, it appeared. Cue? Give that time to marinate. The Houston Police Department verified this. It is unclear if Boosie snatched the bag after the fact, or whether Duke gave it to him for safekeeping during the dice game. One thing is certain, though. Boosie received the bag. No, Duke did not. In a shaky Instagram video from an airplane, Boo responded by saying he hardly knew Duke and that he simply left.
To the parking lot. We was in the garage. We heard this, but it like they was far away in the parking lot. Must have went to his car or something. Dude was finna make a piece for him too. Damn.
Let's face it, though he didn't appear to be a naive man, he seemed concerned and pale. And it gets worse if you already thought that was awful. The federal authorities, who had been keeping tabs on Boosie for other legal matters, made the decision to separate Duke's case into a separate federal inquiry. That entails a laser-like focus on Duke's fate, without any delays or rebuttals to previous charges. They tracked the phone, which is what they do best. Bowie's recording studio was the last place Duke called. Therefore, someone from Boo's group must have taken Duke's phone there, unless it got up and wandered there on its own. They weren't even attempting to be cunning. It was not wiped. They left it intact. After that ping, the phone simply went dark, indicating that it was probably manually turned off. That's what enraged the federal government. They then looked through Duke's rental automobile. Prince was discovered by forensics from Boosie's cousin and nephew. And this becomes even more twisted just when you thought it couldn't get any more. According to a witness who came forward while smoking outside the building, Duke was seen making his way to his car by himself. Everything appeared to be as usual until Boo's nephew appeared out of nowhere. He appeared to be waiting. Duke apparently swung first, attempted self-defense, then fought back after realizing something was wrong, but he was unsuccessful. Boosie's nephew allegedly pulled the trigger with a single fast motion without even tour. As I then, attempting to fake a heist. Why? Because it had nothing to do with stealing. It has to do with silence. Then they retained the bag rather than vanishing. It's not careless. It's haughtiness. Who else noticed all of this? Do you know? 50 Cent? Have you ever noticed that the same caution is always given when artists arrive in Houston? Be sure to check in. It's not formally recognized. It isn't documented. It's real, though. Influencers, athletes, and artists have all heard that if you're flirting with fire if you go through Houston without checking in with JPrinceJr. and the Mob Tie Circle. The issue that no one wants to acknowledge, though, is this. What happens if you're being set up by the individuals you're checking in with? Let's be clear. Duke went to a dice game hosted by JPrinceJr. Takeoff was slain by the same host from the dice game. And that check-in culture changed from one of protection to one of mistrust after Duke's death. Because two men didn't survive if JPrinceJr. really did run the city the way he says he did. Not even Whack 100 could remain quiet.
Act like you cover for him, hanging out, everything cool. Let's go here, let's go there, let's go here, let's go there. He introduces the dice game. He got three right, who rotate the dice. Now these dice is loaded. Tell me it's a Wolf, Big Caprice, and watch this, and Little Cam are the loaded dice rotators, right? He said what? There was a situation that occurred that a certain jeweler around and got past the dice on accident and was hitting on them for a couple hundred. They got irritated about that. I ain't gonna go too far into that story because, right, boom. The only way they could get their money back was however their money back. He said, but Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Caprice are the three designated to say I'm up, I got the next, and they pass the dice to each other.
JPrinceJr. welcomes celebrities, plays the friend card, makes them feel at ease, and then leads them into a dice game where his people are gathered around them, he claimed, calling it a scam ring.
Well, Julie might have been down there shooting dice, but nevertheless, to all the entertainers, you know, DukeTheJeweler was one of my favorite shows, right? I don't know if y'all watched it. I was thinking about Daisy Dukes for a reason. I don't know why I said that. You know, one might go with it, may not go with it, but I don't know. If the math is math, and let it math. But entertainers, beware of with JPrinceJr. when he talked about let's go shoot some dice. Because the loaded dice crew of three, Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Caprice. We know Lil Cam in there because I believe somehow, some way, he was caught up in the dice situation. Rest in peace, Takeoff. I don't know what's going on. But what I do know this, JPrinceJr. got a whole thing that when y'all come into town, hold on, bro. Didn't they say Fifth Ward earlier that day shooting dice?
Yep, that's a fact. That word been out, Wet. That word been out. We been had that memo.
And then, so I've been getting hit all day, and it got to the point that the thing, Quavo, like, got into dice. That's what this nigga JPrinceJr, boy, these niggas got all kind of shit going on down there. They say, he said the jeweler nigga got past the dice. He didn't even know the motherfuckers was loaded. He just think he hit. These niggas is mad as a motherfucker. Cause they like, nigga, how you pass this?
Rumor has it that certain musicians are discreetly separating themselves. It's becoming radioactive, and labels are leaving Houston events. Even 50 Cent has begun to quietly express his feelings, has been criticizing the game, uploading videos, and adding crude commentary. He's playing with fire, according to some. Some believe that he is the only one who has the courage to express what everyone else is thinking. According to sources, Boosie is terrified that the federal government is putting pressure on him, distancing this case from his previous gun-related crimes and focusing on the night Duke passed away. They have begun investigating his financial records, his residences, and even his son's online activity. The true mayhem, however, may be emanating from within. Boo's own girlfriend allegedly told someone that Boosie hurried back inside that evening, obviously concealing something. He continues to act as though he is ignorant, though.
Dude was gambling. They trying to make false reps like the dude beat somebody out of some money, but the dude actually lost his money, bro. Ain't nobody really win. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude lost his money, and you know, four dude left. Dude was like, man, I won't make a piece for you. Woo de woo. I'm like, nigga, make me a gold piece. You know what I'm saying?
This is all he keeps telling everyone.
His car was outside the arena under where we was. It was on side the parking lot, so he had to walk to his car. And that's where the incident took place, when somebody, you know, tried to get him or whatever. But Vlad, bro, if anybody know me, bro, that ain't my stilo, bro. You know what I'm saying? That ain't how I get down, bro. Like, that ain't how none of my people get down. And that's just the bottom line. That's shit that we wouldn't do. And, you know, we was fucked up about it because obviously they were watching us. You know, obviously they were waiting for anybody to walk across that parking lot to them cars.
Because Boosie doesn't roll alone. Folks are now wondering about Bowie Falls and who he's bringing down with him. Involved is his nephew. There is his cousin involved. His name is now associated with that of JPrinceJr, who is already facing pressure following Takeoff's passing. All of the threads are leading back to the same table and intersecting. It becomes even messier. The same act mob ties once, Finesse. Twice now, the person standing behind is saying everything from yelling out JPrinceJr in interviews to hardly mentioning his name. Clearly, something went wrong. The fallout appeared to be quiet at first. Simply put, Finesse stopped being around Junior. No backstage hangs, no concerts. Then the murmurs began. It seems that a woman was the catalyst for the entire situation. And Finesse's baby mama is not just any woman. She and her mother are accused of lining him up, calling the police, and locking him up again for breaking probation a few months ago. And you know who intervened to free him? JPrinceJr. After a few phone calls behind the scenes, Finesse was back on the streets in 2 weeks. However, Finesse immediately returned to the same girl without expressing gratitude. The senior had had enough at that point. He mounted using his chest. He said this on Twitter. I advised the homie who truly loves his life to avoid that chick at all costs. I had to intervene to get the buddy out of jail, but he refused to listen to what I had to say. You should exercise caution if you believe that these women are looking out for your best interests. The situation becomes much more chaotic at this point. There were rumors that JPrinceJr may have secretly gotten Finesse's girl pregnant. Is it verified now? No. But the fact that Finesse hasn't refuted it and that people think it's true tells you everything you need to know. Some fans began to notice the pattern while others dismissed it as drama. Junior and Takeoff's family are at odds. Behind the scenes, he and Boosie are at odds. Finesse is currently on the rise in the public eye. How many bridges can you burn, many are asking, before the fall of the entire empire? Because this is the reality. It just takes one person to turn against you when your reputation is based on power plays, silence, and fear. All it takes is one witness, one buddy, and one artist. The question now is, will Boosie be the first to speak? Will Finesse eventually reveal the truth? Or will JPrinceJr. be pushed by 50 Cent's preoccupation with revealing mob connections to breach the code of silence and save himself something no one ever imagined he would do? In any case, the collapse has begun, and the murmurs are now becoming loud knocks. Federal agents are surreptitiously inspecting Boosie's Georgia property, his Baton Rouge mansion, and his full estate portfolio behind the scenes. Every penny is being tracked down. Boosie is now being surveilled in addition to being probed. Remember that this is about more than just Boosie. This also pertains to JPrinceJr. The artists are retreating. The labels are retraction. It's not a rap feud. Reiki energy is this. And since Duke's killer may have been captured on camera, it would only take one individual to sell it to the federal government or TMZ, and it's game over if that video comes out.